This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
The darkness, and we have the intruder Hukamuri as he makes his way through the Djuma wilderness. This is Safari Live.
This is so exciting. We've managed to find the sausage tree pride.
Look at this last dash.
This is amazing. Look at that incredible strength.
20 seconds.
Here come the cheetah. Unbelievable stuff. I'm just keeping my head on a swivel. You never know what's going to happen next in these situations.
Standing by.
Can you believe this?
Three, two, one. Live.
Good evening, South Africa, and welcome back again to Safari Live. My name is James Hendry, and I'm standing with a magnificent, beautiful, flap-necked chameleon, which has come out because it's unusually warm this evening. We're coming to you live, of course, from two locations in Africa, Masai Mara in Kenya, and, of course, the western fringes of the great Kruger National Park here in South Africa. Now, the most important part of any live safari, or indeed TV event, is you, because you are able to talk to us in real time. Please ask us any questions, send us any comments that you might have using the hashtag safariLIVE on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you. Any questions you have, anything you might like to see, let us know, and we'll do our best to make your wish our command. Now, this little flap-necked chameleon is sitting in a rather interesting spot, and I'll tell you why he's sitting in an interesting spot. Just earlier today, we had Tingana, our dominant male leopard, and his son Hosana having a fight around here, and our aim is to try and find one of them before the end of the show. Last week, there was a lot of excitement. If you missed it, as I always say, shame upon you, but fear not, you can still see what happened. In the western Kruger, Ribbon and one of her excited little cubs entertained the den, while Trishala pondered the changing social landscape of the clan. Chalamba, Tundi and Tingana met for a family reunion of sorts. The Queen wants the princess to leave home, but the Duke seemed quite touched by his daughter's attentions. Tristan had a magical experience with an African wildcat, a shy and retiring little felid from which all domestic cats are descended. While up in the Mara, Pat watched bounty turn to tragedy as two prides met at a hippo carcass. The ensuing battle killed two little Olololo pride cubs. This is Safari Live. Now, of course, that wasn't last week. Last Sunday evening, I've blotted from my memory, so awful was the event of watching the Proteas playing at the World Cup. Anyway, we're back live in the western fringes of the great Kruger National Park. Now, this little flap-necked chameleon is changing colour as we speak, and that's because he's feeling a little bit stressed by us. That's not to worry, because we will leave him be. But what is very interesting is that he is very unusually coloured. He's almost entirely pale creamy white, and he had a little bit of black on his back that's now turned brown, and that's not their normal colour. Their normal colour is green. I have seen them sort of a chestnut brown colour as well, but this is the most unusually coloured one I've ever seen. We do know that you do get albino reptiles, but I don't think this is an albino because, of course, he does still have quite a lot of pigment. Beautiful animal. Now, we are looking for the dominant male leopard of this area. That is, of course, Tingana, or his son Hosana. Up in East Africa, they do know mostly of cheetah, but sometimes they get very lucky with leopard, and Pat was one such person a little while back.
This is awesome stuff. This is the first time I have ever seen a leopard where I am right now, which is the Masai Mara Game Reserve in Kenya. Alrighty. My name is Patrick, and joining me is James. Now, this is a male leopard that I believe to be the shepherd's tree male. which is seen around this area. This is where his territory lies, and he's looking quite skinny. When we did approach him, he was looking at the warthog and stalking it a little bit, but the warthog clued onto his presence pretty quickly and ran off. But he does still seem to be out on the move and potentially going to hunt, so we are going to stick with this leopard and see what happens.
Whether it's in the Masai Mara or here in the Greater Kruger, the last thing that the impala want to see is a leopard. But fortunately for these impala, it seems as though they've got their wish. A very good evening to you all. My name is Jamie, and behind the camera is Darby. And things are settling down for the impala on this glorious Sunday evening. Last night was a terrifying evening for them as they experienced the howling winds as the cold front rolled in, and today's been cold and drizzly, so I imagine that they are truly enjoying the temperate temperatures of this evening, the fact that it's still, and most importantly, the fact that they can see. Of course, this technology actually allows us to witness their nocturnal behavior, which we would be unable to do under normal circumstances. Things are quietening down, both in terms of this evening and as well as the impala rutting season, since the males have been making quite the fools of themselves.
Impala are Kruger's commonest antelope, so we often don't give them the attention they deserve. They are athletic, graceful, beautiful, and hugely successful. In May, they are also the funniest creatures in the bush. The rams' testosterone levels skyrocket, causing them to hate each other and love the ewes. They set up little territories with violence and an astonishingly loud, guttural, burping chorus. They chase away their rivals and herd the ladies. Early winter is filled with chaotic battles and frightening roaring. The rutting carnival is a dangerous time for the rams. They forget to eat or look out for predators. But the mating madness only lasts a few months. After this, the anger and vendettas are forgotten, and peace is restored. Well, look what we have found, and the mating madness for the impalas is now mercifully over, so that burping, roaring that they do is slowly dissipating with the oncoming of the winter. Here is Tingana, the male leopard, who was chasing his son around here about half an hour ago. He is none the worse for wear, and interestingly his son, who is not anywhere near his size just yet, or his mass anyway, has absconded. I don't know where he's gone. Possibly still around this area, because he was seeking out his father, which was the weirdest thing. So what happened was, we had Hosanna. We lost him behind a bush, came round a bush, found a leopard, assumed it was Hosanna, and then suddenly we realized it was a different animal because his ears are much tattier, he's much bigger. And then Hosanna approached his father, which was very strange, because Tingana was very clearly looking for another leopard at the time. He was salivating. And then Tingana got wind of Hosanna and chased him. There was a fight. And for some strange reason, when Tingana left Hosanna alone on the ground, son started to follow father once again, which just seemed the most bizarre behavior. And I don't know if he's still in here. It's my suspicion that Hosanna is not far from here and he might pop out sometime soon. So please don't go anywhere. Come back and you might have 2 leopards. Hello everybody on the internet, the evening we have had. Many of you of course will have seen the evening that we have had. And well, we had a puncture then. There was a lot of bad language on the back of this car. There's a bit of shuffling in the bushes here, Seb, where he's looking. Yeah, it's almost certainly the other leopard. Or a hyena. It's a hyena. Oh, hyena, go away. We really don't want the hyena here. Oh, go away. You beastly Misi. Yes, away with you. You're very entertaining, many times, but not right now. Can you still see Tingana? Okay, I can still see Tingana. We'll wait here for now. 90 seconds, everybody, until we come back to TV. Well, this is a little bit like the star of the show trying to be trumped by some big oaf. And now he's not even going to be in the show. Thank you. Thank you for nothing. Go away. Let's quickly move. We have about a minute, I think. I'm just going to kill some lights. Have you got the Seb?
Yeah.
There we go. We'll just this will have to do, I'm afraid. All right, everybody. What an afternoon. We're just getting instructions, everybody.
So I'll come to you for the shot.
Yeah.
Call me back and then we'll do the question.
Okay. Welcome back live, everybody. I'm afraid you did miss something while you were gone. A hyena came through here, started sniffing around where the old Duke is, so he moved into some slightly thicker bush, but we still have him here, which is marvellous indeed. Let's hope that he doesn't go too far from here. Like I said, I think his son is probably still around here somewhere. I can't tell where. There's a great big riverbed in over here, and I think perhaps he's gone in there to seek refuge, or perhaps to sneak up on his father once again. Let's go back to young Tingana there. Well, he's not young anymore, of course. He's almost 13. No, Sharon, absolutely not. Thank you for asking that question. Tingana most certainly did not submit to Hosanna. It was quite the other way around. Tingana chased Hosanna. Then, when they got very close, after they'd had physical contact and after Tingana had chased Hosanna a long way, Tingana did a strange thing where he lay down and almost gave a submissive gesture. Hosanna was growling some distance away, but then stood up again and was salivating all over the place and sort of walked off nonchalantly. So, no, there was no submission from father to son. Absolutely not, which is very interesting. Now, Hosanna, of course, has not been around for the last little while. He was star of Season 1 of Safari Live, and he absconded for about 4 months, and we're very, very pleased to have him back.
The prince, Hosanna, possibly the world's most famous leopard, has come home. When he left a few months ago, we thought perhaps it was for the last time. But the prodigal prince returned last week. He's been visiting his favorite hunting spots and walking his familiar paths. While he is slightly heavier and possibly a little wiser, his mischievous familiarity and clownish personality remain. His confidence is high, but his father, Duke Tingana, is still in charge at Djuma. How long will our celebrity prince remain? We don't know. But each minute with Hosana is a precious privilege.
Well, how incredible that he has returned. He really is one of our favorite cats, and for him to have come back is really, really special. Now, you might see some glinting eyes in the distance there. It's right on the edge of our infrared light, and we don't want to shine a spotlight on it, but it is a white-tailed mongoose. Now, this is one of the nocturnal mongoose that we get in this particular area. They come out in the night time and they'll start to scavenge around for various insects, in particular scorpions that we get a lot of, especially in the summertime, that will come out and will walk around on the road. My name is Tristan on camera. I've got Senzo this evening, and it is a very warm welcome to all of you. Now, unfortunately, we did have Hukumuri a little bit earlier, but he unfortunately gave us the slip. We have some elephants and some lions making a lot of noise close by, and I think the audio of those gave him a bit of a fright, and he went trotting off, and we unfortunately lost him. So we're trying to see if we can find him, and then we bumped into this white-tailed mongoose, which is something that you don't get to see all that often. There's a lot of creatures of the night that are very shy and very, very secretive, and it can be quite tricky to actually find them. But I think our white-tailed mongoose might have left us for now and decided to carry on foraging. What they normally do is they'll kind of get up and they'll move and they'll try and sort of scratch around. So I just want to use my spotlight quickly just to have a little check around. And unfortunately, it's way, way, way in the distance. You might just see its eyes over there. Now, a few months ago, David was following a different kind of spotted cat all the way up in the Masai Mara, and, well, she was on the hunt.
Surprise, surprise, surprise. And this could be a female, and chances are this could be Kakenya. My name is David, and on camera with me is Manu. I'll stay with her because chances are she may hunt. We have all the right conditions for her to do something. Where are you running and where are you running to? If anything you should be looking for would be breakfast. Are you going to climb that tree? You're going to surprise me. And I would say the hardest of the three cats of East Africa, of the cats of East Africa to find, are the leopards. She climbs fantastic. Very good. Well done. And good camera work, Manu. Cheetahs are easy to find because look where she is now. And in general, they are always on termite mounds or walking in open areas. So Kakenya, I have not seen her for quite some time. Chances are she is looking for breakfast. Oops, good jump. So we'll keep following her, giving her space to move on. So I need to get out of the grass back to the road. And the area she is going into is even a lot better because the grass there is a lot shorter. So it'll be safer for me, safer for her, and chances are she might spot some topi. I want to take you, Thompson Gazelle. I want to take you back to topi and show you how apprehensive the topis look. They have also gone on top of our termite mound, looking at her.
The cheetah of the Masai Mara, particularly the females, have an immensely tough time of things. In the time that I spent out at night, and I followed them around a lot, not so much Kakenya, but other females in that area, in every single night that I was out with them, they were followed by a hyena the entire night. And as soon as they went to sleep, the hyena went to sleep about 50 meters away. And it's something that we actually learned that not even the researchers were aware of. And speaking of a hyena, we've just come across to the Juma clan's den site, and I briefly saw one of the adults get up and move into the thickets, and unfortunately that means for us that we cannot stick around because the babies are still very young, and we do not stay near the hyena den if the adults are not present. Otherwise, what happens is that the little cubs actually come out and investigate because they get curious because they are so intelligent. It's an entirely different challenge for an animal in the Sabi sands, in these thickets, versus the ones out in the open in the Masai Mara. But the shepherd's tree male is all about finding a place to stay hidden.
Well, we have this male leopard now in stalk mode. So we have had two topi actually over here who are fighting, and caused a bit of commotion, and it caused this leopard to actually pick up on what they were doing, and now seems to be stalking his way across to the topi. So them fighting is actually a very good distraction for this leopard. It means that they're not as aware of their surroundings. As we can see, we are in a recently burned area, so the grass is still quite short, which is actually a bit of a disadvantage to this cat right now. But making a good job right now of stalking through there. Is actually, okay, so over here there's Topi with a calf. So I would imagine that the calf would be the primary target for this leopard, as generally there's the sick, weak or young that are picked off first. And it doesn't seem to be, oh no, there is a leader in front of it there. So it does have some protection, but that does seem to be the direction this shepherd's tree male is going. So we can only hope that he is going to strike soon.
Now, of course, what those topi were about to experience, or maybe about to experience, is precisely what all of the impala have been experiencing in this area. They've been in the middle of the rut, and that means that the rams have been taking a fearful pasting from all of the predators out here. Mainly the leopards and the lions, but any predator worth its salt has been going for impala rams, who have forgotten entirely about anything other than sex, which is of course what they do at this time of the year. Now, Tingana has put his head down because he's had a very tiring afternoon of chasing his recalcitrant son. His son is quite possibly still in here, but peace seems to have returned to this area. We're not going to go anywhere. I hope that you won't either, because anything could happen with this wonderful leopard. All right, everybody, here we are with our leopard over here. Sebastian, do you think we'll get a look at his face if we go a little bit forward? Probably worth a try, worth a try. Worth a try. Well, there are bushes everywhere, as we discovered today, one of which went through our tyre, which was very unfortunate. Of course, the chances are also that we'll flush Hosanna somewhere if we do this. How's that? Can you see him? No, just some bush. Okay, let's keep trying. There we go. There you are. You got him there.
I think he's...
There he is, that's him. There, you got him. You got him.
This gap, yeah.
Just zoom straight there.
Yeah. Here we go.
No, we're fine here, huh? Alright, everybody. We've got Singana. I wish I was doing what he's doing right now. Welcome back live, everybody. Nothing has happened since you left except for Tingana slipping into a deeper sleep. Now, he is a quite old leopard, of course. He's almost 13 years old, which is pretty aged for a male leopard. But, of course, that's not why he's sleeping so much. He sleeps so much because he's a cat, and cats all sleep a great deal. In fact, most carnivores sleep a great deal. And I think that's largely on account of the fact that their food is largely protein-based. Of course, there's very little fat in any of the animals that they eat, which means it's difficult for them to make a lot of energy. Param, that is a very interesting question. Will the fight between Hosana and Tingana make Hosana take another extended sabbatical? I don't know. I think it's unlikely, and I'll tell you why I think it's unlikely. They have had little fights before from time to time. It's not completely unusual for them. It might give him enough of a fright, but the way he was seeking out his father, I just can't see that as being a reason for him to leave. I think the reason that he will leave completely one day is when he starts to feel the hormones of adulthood coursing through his body and he wants to set up his own territory and mate. And that's not going to be possible as long as his father is alive and well in this area. And every time we cast aspersions on Tingana, we say he's a little bit old and he's almost certainly going to lose his territory soon. He reappears looking bigger and stronger and healthier than he has for ages. Right, this chap is not going to wake up, I don't think, anytime soon, but we are going to wait with him and see what happens. Meanwhile, let us go and see what fate befell those topi with Pat up in the Masai Mara.
Very good stretch there, Kenya. And what I'm trying to imagine, you should be warming up and ready to give a chase. She has decided now to rise and shine, and to me, this is a very good sign. Kenya is on the move now, not sure exactly what he wants to do. She has done that a few times, then she has run, she has stopped. So, and this particular one time, I think she has spotted something that she is so much interested in, because if you look there to the right, there are 3 or 4 Thompson gazelles, and of course there are the bigger or the larger antelopes there that we call the toppies. Now definitely her focus right now are the Thompson gazelles. She needs now to strategize and calculate how far they are. In general, cheetahs will strike anything between 100 meters to 300 meters. And before she commits herself, she has to be very sure she is within the range of that particular distance.
Well, isn't it fascinating to be able to get a glimpse into the way cheetahs hunt in the open plains of East Africa? It's very different to what we see from many of our cats down here, how they use a lot more kind of ambush technique where we are, even the cheetahs that occur in this area, whereas there it's kind of they got to try and stalk to a certain point, and then it's to try and kind of use explosive speed, and hopefully Kenya will get lucky and be able to find herself a meal. Right, now we are still searching around. We had some lions roaring, but they're quite far in the distance, and we're just trying to search around and see if they pop out anywhere. It's obviously quite tricky at night. It's not easy to be able to track animals. You've got to be able to use a spotlight and hopefully pick up the glint of their eye. And so we're just checking various water points as we go. We're also going to slowly head, because the calls are coming from the eastern side, and we're going to try and head a little bit further to the east, and maybe we'll even get lucky with bumping into Hosana as he maybe moves away from where Tingana is. Diane, what is the difference between a cheetah and a leopard? Well, there's quite a few differences. Obviously, the main difference is in the spot pattern. So a cheetah has very solid, very round spots, whereas a leopard has spots that look like they've exploded. So they have what's called rosettes. The build is very different as well. Leopard is a shorter, stockier animal. animal. Cheetah have very long legs, long tail, and are very, very slender. And then on the face, what you'll find with the cheetah is that a cheetah has these two black lines that run down its face called tear stripes, whereas a leopard doesn't have that marking at all. So when you see Tingana, he won't have those black markings there. In fact, under his eyes, he's going to be a lot lighter in color to help him to see a little bit better in the darkness. Now, talking of leopards and the way different cats hunt in different areas, Pat was still following the shepherd's tree male, and it's absolutely fascinating to watch him on the hunt in the Mara.
Okay, so the leopard is making it ground now, and in a turn of events, the youngest Topi, the calf, has actually fallen to the back now, which is giving this leopard even more of an advantage. So there's just 4 Topis in front of me, and the calf is at the back, and therefore the most vulnerable right now. Still making its way across, definitely making up ground now. It's just going to be a matter of getting past these two who are still fighting without them noticing an alarm calling. Or maybe, okay, I think he's going to go for the Topi that are fighting. Okay, so he's very close now to these 2 Topi. So this seems to be the distraction. He's definitely on the move, and they have not noticed they're busy fighting. Okay, very close now, very, very close. Okay, so we're going. Oh, no! Oh, missed attempt there.
Now, that sort of cheetah attempt by the shepherd's tree male was quite similar to what we saw Hosanna doing this week. He tried the same kind of thing with some impala that came up to the waterhole where he's been sitting around for most of the week. It is an ineffective strategy for leopards, as you saw there. Tingana, not much more to say about his particular behaviour at the moment, because it is much the same as it was the last time I saw you. Oh, we saw a little bit of an eye flicker there, and he's having a small dream now, perhaps of his younger days, or maybe even of his next meal. His eyes are opening. And what's always interesting to me, and we don't always see it, of course, is that these cats, although he looks completely fall asleep, what happens is that if he hears a twig snap or a leaf rustle, he'll be up like a shot. Jaden, a good question. What age will a leopard be able to maintain a territory until? Well, it really depends on the leopard. The oldest male in this area, or the oldest record of a male in this area maintaining a territory, was a chap called the Campan male, and he lived down on the Sand River. And I think he lived till he was just over 15 years old, but he was probably only territorial until about a year before that. So let's say 14 years would be an extremely old age for a leopard to be able to maintain a territory. He will be 13, this is Tingana I'm talking about, in December. And so, any time from now. What's quite interesting also is that there's no way to tell when it's going to happen. They suddenly seem to turn a corner where they start to lose weight. And once that happens, then it's quite a fast road downhill, and eventually they're unable to avoid predators like lions or hyenas, and when that happens to them, then death is normally fairly swift and severe. Unfortunately, no leopard, or very few leopards, actually die of old age. I do know of one, interestingly, a female who lived to be about 16, and she died quietly, we think, on her own in a riverbed. All right, we're not going to go anywhere. We don't know if Hosanna is going to pitch up here, but Jamie Patterson is looking for the creatures of the night.
Well, on the off chance that Hosanna doesn't make his way back towards his dad, what we're doing at the moment is checking out some of his favourite spots. Now, I've been to one of the old hyena dens just to check, and there's nobody home there. which means we're going to abandon our hyena search for now and focus on the little chief and see whether or not we can figure out where he's gone after his family argument, because we can all know how traumatizing those can be. However, while we try and figure out where the little chief has gone, you're going to be taking a short break. Don't go anywhere. Anything can change at the drop of a hat. All right, all sorted, ready to go now. And with our regular audience, I can tell you that this evening has had its moments. Let's put it that way. I didn't really expect the hyenas to be home. Now that the days are getting shorter, they're leaving the dens earlier and earlier. I saw in team, and they're definitely using the den around Philemon's cut line. Okay, that changes my route quite considerably, Kirst. For signal, how long have we got? Two minutes. If I go, I can't go that way. I'll have to go that way. Cool. That's fine. That's no problem. I'm just trying to work out in my head, because obviously I'm not going to take us into the bad signal areas. Kafela. Is that correct? Kafela. I'm doing my name thing again. Kafela. Just remind me, I will forget. Alright, sorry. I'm having a conversation with Kirst and with you guys as well. We're just prepping as we come out. Where should we go, Darby? Well, we can't go that way, so we have to go that way. So that's where we're going to go. Come on, let there be a leopard at Treehouse Dam. Got it. Welcome back on your live and interactive game drive experience here in the western edge of the Greater Kruger National Park. Now, half the fun of a live game drive is that you actually get to interact with us, and you can do that on hashtag safariLIVE on Twitter. That's how you can get hold of us. And if you do, and if you send through your questions, and hopefully we will be able to answer them for you. Everybody close your eyes, flash. Oh, it's a camera trap there. Part of a greater research project with an organization known as Panthera. And that, of course, is set up here because there's such a number of the big cats, particularly leopards, wandering about. And speaking of everyone's favorite big cat, Kafela wants to know why it is that Hosanna left in the first place. We can speculate at length about why it was that Hosanna disappeared when he did. I think it's a combination of genetics, really, and instinct, telling him that at a certain age it's time to go and have a little look at the world around him. Just like any ordinary teenager, I think he discovered that the world around him was actually quite scary, and his father is being very tolerant with him, although this evening seems to suggest things might be changing and that Hosanna's pushed his tolerance a little bit too far. But we'll see. We actually have no idea how it's going to play out. So there you go. You see, somebody asked a question and we were able to answer it for them. Right, speaking of leopards, Hosanna, I imagine, is out on the search for dinner. We're going to send you across to the poor shepherd's tree male who a few weeks ago didn't get his meal.
That was nail-biting stuff. Short-lived strike. Wow. So I did think that calf was going to be the target, but obviously the fighting between the males was enough of a distraction for that leopard to get very close. You poor thing. Bad luck there, boy. That was a very great attempt, a very stealthy attempt to be able to get so close to those topi, but just unfortunately couldn't seal the deal. But he is still out and about, seems to be looking around for more prey items, so we will stick with him and see how the morning unfolds.
Well, there's no need to feel too sorry for the shepherd's tree male. He does have a veritable smorgasbord of choice there in the Masai Mara, and most of his choice consists of warthogs. There are lots of warthogs there, and he seems to take quite a toll on their population. You can see that as I mentioned the word warthog, so Tingana's eyes opened, because I think he'd quite like to eat himself a warthog right now. And in his younger days, they were certainly a speciality of his. He, rather like Hukumuri does now, used to stake out warthog burrows and wait for them to eventually become so hungry that they had to come out, and then he'd nab one. Often adults. And a warthog, believe it or not, a big warthog can weigh up to 100 kilograms. And that's much heavier than Tingana. Tingana's probably in the region of 75 or so. Yeah, we often wish that this would happen. We often think about coalitions of leopards, but you know, they don't form coalitions. They are entirely solitary. And although the record number of leopards seen in one sighting that I know of was 9, believe it or not, none of those animals stayed together. And I'm not sure exactly what the makeup of the... You see how surprised he is by the thought of 9 leopards in one place. It shocks him profoundly to the core of his being. Don't worry, Tingana, there are not 9 leopards around here. It was a long time in the past. You can carry on sleeping. Those sorts of aggregations are very temporary, often around food. A female and her youngsters meets up with another female and her youngsters on a boundary. The dominant male comes in, maybe an interloper like this happens to be in the same area. Very unusual. Once a leopard like Hosanna reaches the age of about 3.5, he will seek to be on his own. In fact, he has sought to be on his own much more frequently, probably from around about the age of 2. He lost his mother and his sister when he was around about 18 months old, his mum a little bit earlier than that, and even from then he was starting to spend more and more time on his own. And you actually also see it when they're cubs. They do play with each other, siblings do play with each other, but they don't play with each other quite as much as lion cubs do, for example. And they play with their mothers, and there's lots of play behavior, and it's wonderful to watch. But you do see, if you watch carefully, them withdrawing to be on their own from time to time. One will go up a tree, the other will wait down on the ground. One will go and feed while the other one moves away, whereas with lions, you'll see them both feeding on the same carcass all the time. So their solitary nature comes out. Is that not just magic? Tingana declaring for all that he is still the dominant Duke of Juma. Wasn't that beautiful? That was just spectacular. Beautiful, beautiful sound echoing through the woodlands here. I think, everybody, you are to send me a one-word tweet, please, using the hashtag safariLIVE. Tell me how that saw made you feel. You can be as imaginative as you like. You can say terrified, you can say awe-inspired, that's a dash, But while you're thinking of your one word, let's go back up to the Masai Mara where my good friend David Katamba Gitu was watching Kakenya on the hunt.
So that green bush you see there, she is on the other side. We cannot see her from where we are, but I'm sure she is focused on some 2 Thompson gazelles that are on to the left. Very close to that huge antelope you see there, the eland. That is where the 2 Tommies are. We can't see even the Tommies as well, but we're just hoping that Kakenya will pop out of that particular bush, and she is definitely stalking. Okay. She moves, she stops. She's now stalking, definitely, no doubt about it. Well, she sat down again because she does not want to be spotted. You see how she disappears in the grass there? We are quite a distance from where she is, just hoping that we do not interfere with her hunting. We have seen cheetahs once in a while from that position, just sprinting, just jumping and leaping and sprinting and going for their prey. I'll not be surprised if Kakenya does that. And the cheetah is trying to give a chase now. Let's find out if that happens. Now, I'm not very impressed by that run, Kakenya, unless you've seen a different Tommy. Oops, there they are. Good. Tommy's going different directions. All right, there she goes. Kakenya, keep going. Kakenya's getting a baby Thompson gazelle. I think she's just about to get it, and she got it.
Well, unfortunately for that little Tommy, it's not ever going to observe a migration, but at least Kakenya managed to get herself a good breakfast. Now, Tingana has turned around because I think he's heard something behind him. I'm not sure what it is. Ivy, thank you very much for your one-word tweet. It was magnificent. It is magnificent, isn't it, to see an animal like this in full cry? It's just very special. My one-word treat was hippopotomonstrosesquipedalophobia. No, it wasn't really. That's a joke. That word apparently means the fear of long words. I think that whenever I hear a sound like that, my one-word tweet is a connection. I feel some sort of connection to the wilderness, which is great. Lisa, you said powerful. That was your one-word tweet, powerful. Yes, there is a huge element of massive and almost inexplicably wild power in a sound like that. Let me just drift backwards very slightly. And we'll get a better... Oh, no, forward, sorry, I meant... Oh, no, there's another tree. There we are. Sorry about that, everybody. Now, I don't know why he sat up. I can't figure it out. I didn't hear anything, but he has definitely heard something around here. That's why his ears are up, and I think that's why he called. Could it be the return of Hosanna? Could it be another hyena? Could it be another male leopard? Who knows? Let's wait and see. Don't go anywhere. Perhaps Hosanna will appear. Hello, everybody on the internet. Goodness, oh, sorry, Sebastian, I'm doing my best here. I mean, I'm not a gardener, am I? I'm supposed to be some sort of professional wildlife television presenter. Wrong one? Where? This one? Yes? But I can't hold this one. I'll fall out of the car. I'll also be stabbed by poisonous tamboti leaves.
You're stuck there now.
I'm now stuck. I think we must move around to another position.
Maybe we can go back to where we were earlier on. And
yes, I think that's a better idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Not sure how long we have. All right, let's go to pajamas. She is driving around looking for things.
Hello, me again. No sign of Hosanna. We've checked Twin Dams. We're now moving up from the south. Tristan's coming in from the north, and between the two of us, we're hoping we might get with Hosanna. I'm not even trying for Tundi. I think she's tucked away in the drainage line on the dam. Anyway, nearly TV time. I'll talk to you shortly. Welcome back, and we are still out on game drive at night here in winter in the Greater Kruger, where it is really the most beautiful evening. It's peaceful, and I'm just out and about enjoying myself and looking for Hosanna. Between Tristan and myself, we're going to see whether or not we can find him to the south or to the north of us. You know, it's interesting for those of you who just heard Tingana call. It's one of the most incredible experiences having a big cat roar next to you. James says he feels connected when something like that happens. I find, and I often feel like I'm most connected when I'm on foot. I find it's when I'm least connected to the goings on of nature, because it feels like that animal's own private world. We can't understand what they're saying. We know roughly what they're talking about or why they're making that sound. But they're hearing things that we can't hear. They are experiencing the world in such a different way that it's probably the point at which I feel most disconnected in a way, or at least the most removed from that animal. I don't know. It's an interesting thought how differently we experience being out here. All of us, however, can appreciate the speed and power of a big cat on a search for something to eat, and Kakenya gave an awesome demonstration of her prowess.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, very many thanks for your patience and a very warm welcome to the Mara Triangle in Kenya. My name is David, and on camera with me is Manu, and we have a cheetah here that just made a kill, I would say 30 seconds ago, and her name is Kakenya. Now let's stop here and we have a look, and she just brought down a baby Thompson gazelle. If you look carefully, this baby Thompson gazelle is not dead as yet, and she's doing what you call a choke cord. She is still suffocating that baby. She'll definitely look for some shade for herself, and she can enjoy her breakfast. How exciting is this, ladies and gentlemen? We have been very patient with her for the last 2 hours or so, and we knew at one point she will make it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to say third time lucky, because finally Kakenya, on third attempt, she has been able to get herself some food. And how epic was that? Well, very many thanks for having joined us. What we're going to do now is just to leave Kakenya to enjoy her breakfast. Kakenya, bon appetit.
Well, it's always a bittersweet moment when you see hunts like that, because obviously it's incredibly exciting to watch a cat in action, and to see especially something like a cheetah run. They run at such an amazing speed that it's always really good to watch them in action. But at the same time, it's incredibly sad when you see the end of an animal's life. And so, you know, often it's kind of with very mixed emotions that you watch a kill like that, and it's not always for everybody. But luckily with cheetah, it generally is a little bit quicker and more painless than it is with some of the other predators out here. Now, we're still searching around. We're trying to see if we can find any sign of Hosanna or these lions that we're calling. Unfortunately, at this stage, no luck just yet. But that's not to say that we won't have luck shortly. That's the one thing about being out in the bush, is that you can have luck at any point and around any corner can be a surprise, and so you always got to kind of hold hope that you'll find something as you go along. And it's not just obviously lions and leopards. There's lots of nocturnal creatures that you can get lucky with. I mean, there's something like an aardvark or civet or serval or wildcat like we had last week could easily pop out at any time. So we're still looking and searching very hard. And while we continue our search for all the nocturnal creatures, let's send you across to learn a little bit more about the cheetahs of the African wilderness.
The wide open plains are the playgrounds for Africa's coursing cat, the cheetah. They are often solitary, but sisters will live together until adolescence, while brothers often form lifelong coalitions. The prey they hunt depends on whether they live alone or in groups. Selecting a victim is a painstaking and careful process. At full stretch, the cheetah is a blur of spots. To stay at top speed, the tail whirls to counterbalance the cat's change in direction. Despite their immense speed and agility, only about 40% of chasers are successful. The hunt is not over with the chase, however. Wrestling is a necessary skill, and the cheetah is built for speed, not power. Cheetah must also eat fast to avoid thieving scavengers. Only after the meal can this captivating cat rest.
Well, interestingly, Tingana's foot looks a little bit cheetah-esque at the moment. You can see he's stuck his claw out, and it actually looks a bit blunted. And I wonder if the ligaments haven't gone on that claw, and whether it's probably out permanently now, and that's why it's blunt on the end. He's unable to sheath it anymore and keep it sharp. As you can see, he is very panicked by the evening, fast asleep, very relaxed, satisfied with his evening's work. We're very satisfied with his evening's work too. It's been wonderful spending all afternoon with him, and to share him with you, of course, doubly special. Well, everyone, that's going to be the end of our show for this week. We will see you in the same place, same time next week. Thank you for your questions and comments. It's been a great privilege taking you on safari.